So they just announced the last HHN house, and a lot of people are split because a lot of people are wrestling fans, a lot of people are Halloween Horror Nights fans, and let the gatekeeping begin. So Halloween Horror Nights just announced the Horrors of Wyatt 6, and you might be asking yourself, what does wrestling have to do with horror? Bro, this is the longest running horror movie that's been happening for a long time. Now, you could argue and say it's The Undertaker, but there was that weird period where The Undertaker became a biker, he was booger red, and then went back to the spooky ookie things. But let's talk about Bray Wyatt for a second. If you're not caught up to speed with wrestling, you should watch. If you completely know the lore and you don't want to stick around, hey, by all means, I get it. But let's talk about Bray Wyatt. For starters, you got to go all the way back to 2013, probably even a little further, when Bray Wyatt becomes this particular character of Bray Wyatt. He's more of a Max Cady from Cape Fear. He is talking a lot like, if you remember old wrestling of Waylon Mercy, this was Bray Wyatt as we know him. But he was sinister too. And then he had a family that was with him. That was Luke Harper, Big Rig, Brody Lee, and you have Eric Rowan. You'll see him in a bit. Either way, this was the Wyatt family. They added Braun Strowman much later, but we'll talk about that. Because when he starts making it to the main roster, now he's Charles Manson. Now he becomes this Charles Manson character, backwoods, scary cult. You still have Eric Rowan, you still have Brody Lee. They're running amok. But at one point, Eric Rowan and Brody Lee, they both get let go. It's Bray Wyatt without his family. He has no family. Now, this is going to make a lot of sense when we get to it. So he ends up with Matt Hardy. Now, there was a point where Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt fought. Bray Wyatt fall into the lake of reincarnation, which kind of brought out a nicer version of Bray Wyatt. That's a whole nother story for another day. But these two become tag team champions. They're family. Because see, the thing about Bray Wyatt is all about family to him and people that are loyal to him. Now, what happens when Matt Hardy is gone? Now he's a man with nothing. So he ends up becoming a children TV host. Now, this is where things get sinister because he is there like a Mr. Rogers. He is there to help bring in the kids. He's helped bringing you in to let him in. And he lets on this like friendly persona that when you let your guard down, his only game plan is to unleash the alter ego that you would claim that he's been working on the entire time, which is the Fiend. This is a much diabolical devil version of Bray Wyatt. And if anything, this is a persona that comes out quite frequently. You can even try to trace it further back, that the entire family of the Wyatts, they all kind of worship the Fiend without really saying that it's the Fiend. They kind of worship an entity called Sister Abigail. But you have the Fiend who would just show up, wreck house. He was unstoppable until Goldberg, but that's another story. In fact, one time he ended up getting Alexa Bliss because Alexa Bliss embodied the spirit of Sister Abigail. At one point, Randy Orton caught him on fire and he was a deformed figure of the Fiend. It's horror, guys. It's all horror. So Bray Wyatt goes away for a little bit. Alexa Bliss steals the power of the Fiend, puts it into Lily. That's a whole nother story. We'll get into it one day. But she harnesses the power of the Fiend, and the Fiend has no power, so Bray Wyatt goes away. He comes back. Now, this is a much different version of Bray Wyatt. We never really get too much of the lore, except he's paired with a guy named Uncle Howdy. Now, Uncle Howdy is trying to tempt Bray Wyatt to become evil again, to become Bray Wyatt, to unleash the power of the Fiend again, and he's tempted to never to go back to that lifestyle again. He's trying to make amends. He's trying to be a better person. This version of Bray Wyatt we never really quite see because unfortunately Bray Wyatt passed away. But then now you get the Wyatt 6, led by Uncle Howdy, who is his brother, who's acknowledged that he's his brother, and he felt that, hey, the world has forgotten about Bray Wyatt. So I need the world to never forget the teachings of Bray Wyatt. So those family, let me back up a little bit. So Bray Wyatt had these friends. He had the pig, he had a vulture, he had a rabbit, and he had a witch. And they all talked to him inside the confines of this children's show. And Uncle Howdy created his group. A rabbit, a pig, a witch, and a vulture. And together, as the Wyatt Six, they will never let the WWE community universe forget the name of Bray Wyatt. In fact, they came to Raw one day and completely decimated the entire roster. Now they're the tag team champions. This entire house is 1,000% horror. So if you don't think that this is about horror, I fully recommend reaching out, not to me, but watching YouTube videos, catching up to speed about everything about the Wyatts. This is going to be a fantastic house. I'm very excited. I'm very hyped about it. Tell me what you guys think about the Wyatts. Or am I going to see you at HHN?